Now, once again, Raymond Arroyo.
Welcome back to The World Over Live. We are discussing the de-Christianization of Iraq, a genocide, really. With me on set is Archbishop Gabriel Kassab, the Chaldean Archbishop of Sydney, Australia, formerly of Basra, Iraq, and his brother, Joseph Kassab, the Executive Director of the Chaldean Federation of America. And from Washington, my friend Nina Shea of the Hudson Institute joins us. Right now, I want to bring Dr. Donnie George into the conversation. He's the head of the, he was the head of the Iraqi Antiquities Authority until a dangerous situation drove him away. Dr. George, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Tell me what happened, Doctor. What ultimately made you abandon your homeland? And by the way, we should say you too are a Catholic and a Chaldean.
No, I'm an Assyrian from the Assyrian Church of the East, but it's in Iraq. We Christians are we deal together. We are all together because our origin is one.
Right.
So yeah.
So tell me, what ultimately made you abandon your homeland?
Well, it was in two ways. The first was that my family, one of my children, had a threatening letter where my two sons used to live with my family, with my parents actually, in Dora, which is a very, very dangerous place now, one of the neighborhoods of Baghdad. And of course I had to bring them to my flat somewhere else in Baghdad, and after about 10 or 12 days I managed to send them to Damascus just to be safe there. On the other hand, I was the chairman of the State Board of Antiquities and Heritage, and I used to have in these last months, so I would say in May, June, July, so much pressure from the new ministry of tourism and antiquities, which were actually people there were from one of the religious factions there, the Al-Sadr. So then afterwards I really had the word from the ministry themselves, an assured one that that Donnie should not stay in this position simply because he's a Christian. And of course, this showed me why all those pressures were on me those last months. And it was I had a very, very severe reaction in my mind because you know after 30 years of serving my country in this field,
you were signaled out for your faith.
Yeah. Yeah, because of my faith, and they just wanted me to go out. And I was sure they would never find someone. I would be happy to handle everything to someone good, but until now, they cannot deal with the whole situation.
And you also got a bullet in the mail, right? With your
That's right,
with your
yes.
son's
The letter that came to my parents' house, it was in an envelope with a bullet in it. And after a few days, actually, I found out that there were about 12 Christian families in Dora. They had the same kind of message, and they all paid and left the Dora neighborhood.
Unbelievable. Hang on the phone with us, Dr. George. I want to come back to you in a little bit. Nina and Joseph, I want to bring you all into this discussion of where do we go from here. The fact is we have all these refugees. We have these people on the run, some living in terrible conditions. The IDPs on the ground, I think we have pictures of the living conditions and what's happening to the displaced people there in Iraq. I want to start with you, Nina, your suggestion for what we should do about those fleeing and trying to find safety from this persecution.
Well, Raymond, first of all, let's make the point that these are very ancient people, as you mentioned before. In fact, the Archbishop is speaking on your show in Aramaic, which was the language of Jesus on this earth. One of the few concentrated groups of people who actually speak this language today. And that they came from historically, and Dr. George can tell this better than anyone because he's written papers and books on the ancient walls of Nineveh. This is the northern plain area where the Christians traditionally came. So really the solution lies there. And the Christians of Iraq and the Yazidis as well, and some of the other minorities, say that really the solution is to help the people who need to leave, first of all, the most vulnerable, to get out and to get asylum. And really, the United States has a moral obligation, I believe, to accept these people in much greater numbers. But there's also a solution within Iraq, and that is to help these internally displaced people who are gravitating north, going back to their ancient homelands, which is a very fertile plain, but it's barren now, swept clean by Saddam Hussein and some of his purges in the 60s and 70s. To help them survive this winter, to give them humanitarian aid, and then to put minimal infrastructure in the Nineveh Plains, water, electricity, roads, some just very basic necessities so that they can sustain themselves and live there and really resettle there. Not to be refugees, not to be in camps, not to be in tents, not to be forced there, but those who want to go there for refuge. This is a quiet area. You don't see the fighting in the Shiites and the Sunnis, and again, the Christians are getting pummeled from all sides. To have them go there, their ancestral homes, and put roots down.
Dr. George, very quickly, as an archaeologist, what is the history of this Nineveh plain? I mean, how long have Christians been in the area?
Well, the Assyrians have been there before being Christians, and I would say around 2,000 years before Christ they were there. Actually, it is called, in the books of archaeology and history, it's called the Assyrian Triangle. So it's between the Tigris and one of the Zab rivers. It is called the Assyrian Triangle, and in the 1st century A.D., the Assyrians converted to Christianity, and they've been there all the time, and they've been the elite people of the country, of that area. They've been there, they've been the Assyrians and being the Christians. And again, they have been to other cities even during the Islamic period, the Abbasid period. They have been the elite people that actually helped the Arabs to absorb the European civilization, and vice versa, to translate the Arab civilization into European. So they have been the elite people, as I said. They have been the translators. They have been the mediators. All the time, the Christians have been there in their country to help to develop their country, actually with the help of other people. They have been there the whole history, and as Nineveh Plain now, as I would say, if they feel now in danger, the best thing for them is to go back to their plains, to their original
ancestral homeland. Yeah.
That's their homeland, yes.
Joseph, what about all of those who feel they can't make that trip? They don't want to go north, because this is a long journey, particularly for people in the south, in Basra, in these areas, to try to get all the way north into this. It's really a no man's land, because it's neither controlled by the Kurds nor the Iraqis, correct?
Yeah, that's about right.
And so there's a question there. What of those people?
Well, as already mentioned, and I must concur with Nina, that our people, they do need the help. Those who prefer to stay inside Iraq, and we must come up with a really serious solution for them. And there is a need for the U.S. administration to come up with a solution, and a quick solution. Otherwise, we're